My name is Mr. Jack Dex, and I'm here with my lovely co-host Oliver V. We're going to be watching some great gameplay today of our quarterfinals on the secondary bracket of Rax versus Person of Secrets. Rax is on Sneak and Show, and Person of Secrets is on Blue Green Effect. How are you doing today, Oliver? It looks like we're going to start
Oh,
straight off.
I am absolutely living the dream. As you may know, I love me some Infect. And so I love anytime I get to see Infect being played on stream. At the same time, we have Rax, who is one of our sneak and show specialists for sure. Rax has been on two out of two of our last invitationals, actually. And we see them doing killing it again here. Rax, of course, is going to be on the play here because Rax had a 100% game win percentage in the round, completely nutty. And so Rax choosing to be in the play in this matchup. The one thing to know beforehand is both these players do know what their opponent is on. It is open deck list. However, the players are unable to look at the deck list during play. So essentially, they'll bring it up during sideboarding, and we're able to look at it beforehand. That's just us trying to replicate paper play. And let's see. So we're seeing that turn one Lotus Petal from Rax passing over to Person, who's fetching for Trop and playing the Glistener Elf.
hmm
Um, so I gotta say, before I go off on this, who do you think is favored in this matchup, Mr. Jack Dax?
Honestly, it just depends who have the combo more. Infect is really favorable because they can have an OTK. But if Snake and Show has the right hand, they can just go off immediately. And of course, we saw we saw the show and tell come out, which immediately is forced back because we are not going to see that anytime soon. It seems like Rax doesn't have any cards to protect it, so we're just going to see a Infector coming in.
Yeah, just trying to force it. I absolutely agree with you. Infect is kind of built in this way that it's meant to be a combo killer, and the way that it presents this incredibly fast clock that needs to be respected, and at the same time is a force of will daze spell pierce deck, right? And so this is absolutely a matchup where Infect is favored. However, to be honest, especially when we start looking post board, it isn't a hard 70-30. It's really more of a 60-40. So Rax absolutely has play on their side of the table here. We're seeing a second Glistener Elf being played and an Inkmoth Nexus. A load of threats being put into play here. This is scary on Rax's side. But then Rax is going to play maybe one of the most beautiful brainstorms of all time,
Yep,
a Sign Mercadian Mass brainstorm.
super nice. I love them. Considering you are a Infect aficionado, Oliver, what are you thinking of when you're seeing this kind of board state coming from Person of Secrets?
So from person, I feel incredibly good. We saw that there's a force of will already happening on the show and tell, as you noted, and that there was no protection for it. So this brainstorm is incredibly important on Rax's side. Person does seem to be in a rather advantageous spot, just because even without pump spells, there is a 3-turn clock on the board. I'm not unfortunately we're unable to know what hand sizes are currently, but I believe Person is on 4 cards at the moment, 4 or 5. Um, and it's really just all about the cards that matter. You just want your interaction spells. And as long as you have them, the spell pierces, the dazes, and force of wills, you're okay playing the long game. But you also have the constant threat, right? So if a person of
Ooh,
sequence, for instance, has double invigorate, it's also over.
oh, that's
And
game.
we're seeing show of tell resolve and put in Emrakul, and it's over. Person of Secrets did not have the pump to be able to kill on the following turn, it seems. And yeah, looks like we're moving on. I do wonder if that was a little bit of an early scoop because even no matter what person's hand was, if person draws brainstorm and then brainstorms into invigorate berserk and dual land, assuming none of them were in there, there was the chance of being able to get there. But regardless, we're going to game three. Rack's able to take game one, which is huge, honestly. Infect is definitely favored in game one. So I'm liking Rax's side more and more, despite being disfavored in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm really liking Rax's side right now. They seem to be on the gas pedal, going straight for 0 to 100. I'm also really enjoying that Rax has a card slot zone, if you notice at the top, where they have their cards in hand number always changed by dice representation below the phone life totals. Also loving their sleeves. Very good choices of Pokemon Cool sleeves. Um,
Absolutely.
really liking this all around. Person of Secrets has a really cool playmat. I don't know what it is, but it seems really cool.
It's Sylvan
Um,
Library.
Is
It's
it?
an alternate Sylvan library art, yeah, and
That
of
is
course,
super cool.
Rax with the known Vulpix aficionado, of course, has to be rocking those sleeves. Really quickly, let's jump over to sideboard plans. So, Rax has a single Boseiju, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Pyroblast, 1 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Abrades, 2 Defense Grids, 2 Pyroclasms, 2 Blood Moons, and 2 Progenituses.
Progenitus.
The greatest. Oh my goodness. No generic mana cost in that 10 mana spell, let's point out. Um, I look at this and my immediate cards that I am expecting Rax to bring in are Blood Moons, Pyroclasms, and Abrades. Some amounts of Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast can be brought in as well. However, I do wonder about how many slots are actually available to be taken out on Rax's side. That's the part that I'm quite unsure about, to be honest. I'm so used to seeing these cards boarded in against me that I'm not quite sure what is taken out on Rax's side. What do you think, though? What do you think that we might be seeing Rax happen in, or Rax's 60 look like in the second game?
I'm thinking double Blood Moon, one Pyroclasm, and then maybe a Defense Grid or two.
Interesting, the defense grids.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm honestly thinking, Defense Grid is probably fine in this matchup because you really don't want to get hit by anything. Um, it's just it's just such a problem.
Yeah, I can absolutely respect that. I do wonder how much that changes with being on the play and the draw. Of course, person going to be on the play here, where defense
Mhm.
grid is a strictly bad card
Yeah,
if
not if you're not on the
person
play.
sequences ahead. Yeah. Jumping over very quickly to person side, of course, we see one Bazooka Bog, one Caracas, one Crop Rotation, one Flusterstorm, one Grafdigger's Cage, one Surgical, one Swords of Plowshares, one Veil of Summer, one Absolute Law, the coolest of pro red cards,
Oh yeah.
one Rest in Peace, 2 Spell Skites, 1 Teferi Time Raveler, 1 Viridian Corruptor, and 1 Force of Vigor. Person really trying to make me say a lot of words quickly there with that almost completely singleton sideboard. So close. Before I kind of talk about what I'm thinking on sideboard plan for this, what do you think would be coming in?
I think probably crop rotation Caracas plan. If they just show and tell straight in like an Hammer Hole or something. Um, Most of the time you'll see Omniscience come in, but if that is the case, it's really good to get that out. Probably swords, and then potentially Force of Vigor is probably the other one I'd bring in.
Yeah, you do need to respect the Blood Moon, especially because these players know of each other's board plans. So, me personally, my approach to the matchup, having the Caracas in the sideboard is kind of old tech. We haven't seen that in a while. However, it is absolute gas in this matchup. So, of course, the crop rotation, the Caracas, the Teferi Time Raveler is incredibly important as well, both because it answers an onboard threat if it is just show and telled in, and at the same time turns off all counter magic on the opponent's side. These are kind of the important cards, in my opinion. And we're able to bring out we're able to actually cut down on Inkmoth Nexuses in this board or in this matchup. The way that the Inkmoth Nexus plan works is you often board it out against combo decks, just because they aren't quite fast enough. And the big running joke is Inkmoth Nexus is the best and the most expensive threat. It's great in the grind plan, but it is just incredibly slow against combo decks. But we'll have to see the way this actually works out. So jumping in, of course, a few things have already happened. We've seen that turn one noble play
Yep.
into turn one preordain, and looks like we had a brainstorm cast on person's side, correct?
Yes, there was a
Yeah.
brainstorm, and then we fetched with a Misty Rainforest to get another tropical island. Um, I wonder what kind of turn we're gonna get out of here. Maybe we'll see a Glistener Elf, or maybe we'll see a Blighted Agent potentially.
There's a chance of jamming Sylvan Library here. It isn't the best in this matchup again because it's so slow, but just the sheer card advantage that you're able to get of basically just take eight, draw three, take eight, draw three can also be amazing in this matchup if you're doing the more control side. But
Of course,
we're
we do
seeing
see
that
the Blighted
Blade
Agent.
Agent. Yeah, the Blade Agent slam. I can kind of rant about this for days, but the turn one noble start from Infect is so incredibly important. It is
Just
the
so
most
good.
powerful turn one play. Everyone always talks about the turn one Glistener Elf cheese going for turn two kill, but honestly, the best play that almost 95% of the time is turn one noble. That is exactly what you want to be doing. And look at this damage, this beautiful signed ponder. Oh my
Oh yeah.
goodness. I'm greatly enjoying all these signatures on Rax's side of the board.
You're a big fan of signatures. Your whole Infect deck is all signed. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We are so close. We need that scale up. It's coming in the mail.
Oh, it's almost there. We're getting there.
We're almost so close. Yes, I love me some damaged cards. I also feel okay making that joke as someone who spent way too much money on signed cards. It isn't a thing of hate; it's a thing of love to call them damaged.
Gotta love it. And honestly, if you're in person's position, this seems like such a great way to ride to victory. You probably just hit scale up on the Blighted Agent and then do Berserk and get your trigger off, and you're pretty good to go.
Well,
Um,
also just attacking for 2, as long as you have the counter magic in your hand, you really have an amazing long game setup, right? Where you can just kind of delver them out, swinging with a 2/2 and having them on a 5-turn clock. Eventually, maybe even just hit for like 3 times or twice, and then do an invigorate again, as like to turn into a 3-turn clock. But you're in an amazing situation if you're on person's side of the board right now.
ooh, okay, we're gonna get a Pendelhaven. We're gonna make this 3.
So of note, this doesn't quite make it a turn 3 clock by itself. It is threatening a 2-turn clock now, though, with any pump spell on the subsequent turns. So if we're in person side, we're really, I imagine, hoping just to make it one more turn. And again, with all these spell pierces, the Flusterstorm, the Dazes, and the Force of Wills, it's looking pretty good for us. Rax, of course, still at 7 cards in hand, now 8, of course, before this Lotus Petal comes down.
Gonna brainstorm away something.
Another brainstorm. I mean, this is what we want to see on person side. Rax is really just kind of spinning their wheels right now. And this is really the turn that if we're in Rax's side, Rax wants to be deploying in this moment. This is the last turn we're assuming at the very least.
Yeah, we're definitely assuming that we're gonna see some sort of um, way to delay because we're eventually gonna have to kill the Blighted Agent. The only way we're gonna get rid of this, it has to be through an Abrade or a Pyroclasm. Um, there's nothing else in this deck list that would suggest otherwise. No way to really get rid of it unless you're playing Reb and Pyroblast. If those came in, sure.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the thing of note here is that show and tell is not necessarily going to stop person from winning on the subsequent turn, because if show and tell just goes ahead and puts in Emrakul, it's probably going to be game over, assuming there's a single pump spell on person's side, which we have to assume is going to be the case.
Of
Seeing another preordain after the shuffle away,
course,
we're digging for an answer at this point.
yeah,
That's just clearly what's happening.
we're hoping to dig for some sort of answer, maybe another Lotus Petal, so we can cast our Sneak and Show, or our Show and Tell, and
There
that
we
is
go.
Rax's plan. We you mistakenly said person, but that's okay. Don't worry.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah.
The plan here is for Rax to get a Show and Tell off and get that going, or to find a Pyroclasm, or to find an Abrade, or a Reb. There's a bunch of different ways we could go about what we can find here. We're gonna scale up immediately.
This is threatening lethal. So
Very good.
we need interaction from Rax, whether that's in the form of the Force of Wills or other counter magic suite, or the Abrades out of the boards. That's ultimately what it's going to come down to.
Help's such a good card. Gotta love it.
It is nutty in this deck for sure. Combos with Berserk, combos with Invigorate. I mean, if that thing was instant speed, it would be absolutely busted.
Oh, yeah, no, it'd be beyond busted. It'd be great. Um, I do find it funny. Oh, we're gonna see a Spirit Guide pitch. Good old Monkey Man, rest in
Oh,
peace in modern. Into a Red Elemental Blast. I think it's a beta one too. Very nice.
oh, that's
Goodbye.
really interesting. That's really interesting to use the monkey mana. I would have expected a fetch there, but I don't recall. Was the preordained keep 2 on top?
I don't remember.
Okay, that would be my what I would suspect. Maybe there's another brainstorm in Rax's hand also,
Potentially.
so Rax wants to get the perfect brainstorm in. But now this is the turn where we can see a sneak attack coming in
Responder.
and a ponder.
Imagine we're digging just for more mana.
I mean,
Because
at this
otherwise
point,
we're
it
not
should.
gonna. Otherwise we're not
I
gonna
mean,
get Sneak Attack in. So.
oh yeah, but the thing is, we don't actually need the sneak attack anymore because the threat's been dealt with. Show and tell is just as good at the moment.
Oh yeah.
The only potential threat of losing is if Person of Secrets has one of the 2 crop rotations and goes crop rot into Ink Moth, swing and go for the kill. However, with one of the pump spells already used, it's a little less likely that they are going to be able to actually get there on the following turn. Um, yeah, this is quite interesting.
Seems like one of the player feeds had dropped off or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened here.
Got quite small for a moment there.
Yeah.
Luckily, this isn't a deck that makes a giant board state, so
Yeah, we're very
it's not going to be
lucky.
the worst thing in the world. We are not playing against Maverick at the moment, thank goodness.
Yeah, that would be bad.
And we are seeing Person on their side deploying the
A
Glycerol.
Glistener Elf.
So
Yeah.
threat is on the table again. Rax just going show and tell is not quite adequate.
Hmm.
Of course, unless it's show and tell into omniscience. I suppose I keep forgetting that this is a I'm so used to sneak and show not playing omnisciences.
Yeah.
There's having that like omnitel sneak and show dichotomy, but this really is bridging between the two with the two omnisciences.
Yeah, Omniscience is such a good card. It's super expensive to play if you actually played it. It's better to cheat things into play than not cheat things into play.
Who's gonna hard cast their omniscience? Come on, we're here to put it in with show and tell.
Oh yeah,
And we're seeing another ponder, another Mark Teeden altar or signed ponder. I mean,
plus.
Rax at this point has seen such a large amount of their deck. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's really insane when you start thinking about it too. We're gonna keep three on top and draw one of them. Seems like Rax is really enjoying what they're seeing. Oh, we saw the Bitseju come in. Ooh,
Ooh, I like this.
they are thinking about the long game and not being countered. That's a good plan to be on always. Um, generate whatever you want with it. Enjoy your life. Pay your 2 life and go off into town. Of course, the Glistener Elf can be very scary here. If Glistener Elf does what it does.
So the only way to interact with it at instant speed besides counter magic is going to be the abrade. However, pyroclasm is
Here
another
comes a
good
braid.
way to deal with it. But oh, there we
It seems
go.
to be a full art of braid, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Very good card.
absolutely. And of course, doing this the right way and trying to interact on person's turn so that any pump spells are not countering it and also lethal. Looks like we're seeing the days
Ooh, that's an
making
old
pedal be
foil
popped.
days.
Yes, it is. That is
Beautiful.
a pretty one.
Yeah, are you gonna
So
crack your pedal?
of note, we haven't mentioned this. Person's deck is almost completely Japanese foil. Another beautiful way to
Ooh,
make your deck look. As much as I love me some damage sign cards, I have to give Person mad respect for this list.
gotta love it. Absolutely beautiful.
And wait, chooses for it to just be countered. Does not pay for it with the pedal. That's fascinating.
I'm beginning to wonder what's in Rax's hand. I think we're seeing another scale up.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even notice looking at Person's list that there were two scale ups. I'm so used to it being a one of. That's quite interesting. It looks like that choice is that over?
I mean, we're looking at a
Oh,
list with Once Upon a Time and Sylvan Library, so.
yeah, well, what's actually really interesting is that I didn't even realize this when I was talking about it. There's actually no spell pierces in Person's list at all.
Yep.
They're actually instead of the two standard spell pierces that are kind of messed around with sometimes, Person's actually choosing to play that Once Upon a Time and the second scale up over it, just choosing to go as fast as possible.
I can appreciate it, and it seemed to work out great for them.
It definitely did.
We're going on to
We're going
game
to
three
game
here.
three.
Yeah,
You think
right now.
sideboarding changed at all? I remember I recall you saying that you really thought defense grid had some possibility from Rax's side. Are you still thinking that might come in when Rax is on the play?
Yeah, defense grid has a lot of play here. Considering if you're going to be in the driver's seat, you can play defense grid. It forces your opponent to try and play spells in your turn, and it costs what, 2 more, right?
I believe so. Is it that or three? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
3 more.
three more. Yep.
Each other player's spells cost 3 more to play. That's very relevant when you're trying to combo off. Of course, we've already seen the Beseju, so they might just try and hedge their bets on Beseju and not side in defense grid, or they might already have it in. But I can't imagine your board plan changing too much here. We did see a Red Blast, so I'm assuming we also have a Pyroblast in there. We did see an Abrade. We did not see any Blood Moons or Pyroclasms game 2, so maybe, maybe they didn't board it in. Of course, that 120 you see there, folks, is going to go away to 20. It just needs to go back down.
We just got an extra digit in there. It's all good.
Yeah,
I
don't
do
worry.
have to say that if Blood Moons weren't in, I would absolutely expect them to come in now. Also a little bit of insider knowledge. I had the absolute pleasure of playing against Rax in the Invitational, and so I know for a fact through our discussion that those pyroclasms are coming in, despite us not seeing them. That that is a card that Rax loves having in the board, specifically because of matches like these. So we'll definitely be hoping to see them in this next match or in this next game. But I don't believe that anything's really going to change on person's side, to be totally honest. There is the possibility, of course, of Force of Vigor coming in out of respect for the Blood Moon.
Mhm.
Uh, but besides that, I'm still really just thinking it's the Crop Rot, the Caracas, the Flusterstorm, um, and the Teferi. That really seems to be it. I don't think your sideboard changes, the cards that you have out changes that much. Typically, the only way that that works is when you're flipping around whether or not you have dazes or force of wills in. But then this is the sort of matchup that you absolutely want to be keeping them in no matter what, whether you're on the play or the draw. Um, I do think Sylvan Library does become, even though it isn't a great card in the matchup, it has possibility when you're on the play. I do think that that is a card that gets a lot worse when you're on the draw in this sort of matchup as well. Tapping out on your turn 2 is incredibly difficult. You're just allowing them to go off on turn 3 basically without having to worry about any of your one mana interaction.
That's very true.
But yeah, namely, of course, with this being Brainstorm looking for answer or crop rotation, because there's no spell pierces again, which still feel blindsided by that. I'll be totally honest.
I mean, maybe they just have the tech, Oliver. Maybe they're just so
They're just
good with
better.
Infect.
They strictly better. Person way better. Yeah. I gotta say, I really do love this almost all singleton sideboard plan. It is it is very next level for me, for sure.
It's absolutely wonderful to always see that singleton sideboard plan. I like to call it the silver bullet plan, where you just have one of everything. Reminds me of my old
Feel
modern days where you just had like 20 silver bullets. You know?
Feels a lot better when you have a what is it? A court of calling to go and get all of them. No,
Oh
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. You know it. You know it.
But we'll have to see how this goes. So, of course, I imagine Person of the Secret is going to be on the play here. Seems like any other choice would be totally incorrect. Oh wait, no. What am I saying? Rax is
That's
on the play.
yep,
Person one last match. Well, never mind.
yep.
Look at me. We're seeing that turn one preordain.
I'm really loving these full art preordains. I think they were printed in Commander Legends.
Yeah, they're very
Uh,
fresh.
Very nice. I really wish I could afford the foils though.
Mm, the foils are pretty bendy. I'll be totally honest. Those I actually have one on my desk sitting here that was open on New Year's, just to see how much it curls. It can now stand up by itself. They're like the
I
foiling
need
was
it
not
for
the best.
Popper. I need it for
Okay,
Popper.
well then you might be okay letting it be be super curled.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna get old border ninjas from the deep for Popper too.
Oh,
Foil.
that's right. That's one of
That's
the
gonna
new
be
cards that was
hype.
foiled.
It's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
amazing.
hype. I play blue red scred. It's gonna be great.
Gotta say, I've been loving these old border cards. I already know they'll be spending a pretty penny on them for sure. Seeing
Yeah.
Lotus Petal after the preordained passing over, Person of Secrets fetching with the foil Misty, and going ahead and getting the Forest. This seems to be out of respect for the possibility of just being turn 2 Blood Moon here.
Yeah, no, definitely. You don't want to run into that situation. Uh, I wonder what we cast here. I assume we would cast a Noble Hierarch. Unless we got the cheese. If we have the cheese, you go for the cheese. But
I
that'll
do
indicate.
I do think if you have the Noble, you're okay to go and get the Trot because then you're also bluffing Days. So I would expect Glistener Elf here if we're making a turn 1 play. Oh, wow, interesting. All right, totally next level me again. Um, but yeah, this is actually a pretty good setup. Besides the fact that we are no longer bluffing Days, and so Rax knows that they do not have to worry about that card for the next couple of turns at the very least.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
seeing just
assuming.
land and pass.
Oh, there's the drop. Okay, never mind. We can totally bluff the days now.
There we go.
I think we're gonna play a Blighted Agent. I imagine. Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. And this is scary from person side.
Are we gonna go? Yep, we're gonna go brainstorming. We're getting rid of that. Hopefully
See,
immediately.
this is also the reason that I love Infect so much. Is Infect is kind of that like that splinter twin from like Dickman era modern,
Oh yeah.
where you are just this tempo deck that's always threatening this combo kill. So from Rax's side of the board, you need to assume that person can kill you on the following turn, and so you need to kind of be playing around it. So from when you're playing Infect, you get to kind of just like chip in with this Delvery plan, swing for 2 with an Exalted trigger, while your opponent has to make suboptimal plays, just out of respect for the fact that you could possibly have it. And that's why things are just so scary on Rax's side. We are seeing a force of will on this brainstorm, though. It does look like that initial brainstorm was in response to the Played Agent. Seeing a force back from person. Is this resolving? Looks
Great
like it.
laughter.
Well, that was a little battle.
Oh yeah. I do wonder if Rax is gonna go digging for a Reb slash Pyro, or if they're gonna try and find an Abrade.
Seeing the other brainstorm.
Not good.
Rax is just getting to see such a large amount of their deck, right?
Oh yeah, no, no, that's the beauty of this deck. We're playing 4 Brainstorm, I think 4 Ponders and 2 Preordains, if I'm not wrong.
It is 4 of each of these cantrips.
Oh, we're playing a
We are going
lot.
deep on the cantrip plan.
Yeah, we're playing a lot here. Good lord. Yeah. And we're playing 1
Oh,
Intuition, so that is also very fair.
Rax down to 2 cards, playing out Ancient Tomb and 2
Blood
petals, and we
Moon!
see the Blood Moon. Ooh. So of note, Blood Moon doesn't do a lot here. Person of Secrets going with the fetch forest and then the noble. They're still threatening lethal on this next turn.
Ironically, you could daze this to pop a Lotus Petal.
I
um,
do think that if you have it, you would go for it. If you have the
yeah.
days, you would be spending it on that. Just because days is going to be dead at any point going
Oh
forward
yeah.
after this anyway.
But it seems like we didn't have it, so we're just gonna go pondering. Uh, didn't seem
Seeing
to
the
like what they
shuffle,
wanted. Uh, Not a very good top three, I guess. All lands,
we
maybe.
at
All
this point
mountains.
at this point, we're just looking for the second pump effect, just to try to kill on this turn.
Yeah, imagine we're trying to find a berserk. Figure it's cheap, free, affordable.
All right, let's see if person like the draw on that one.
Interestingly to note, we have 0 infect so far, so we're gonna need invigorates. It seems like we're scaling up again.
There you go. Let's see the invigorate alongside this.
Oh, we're gonna double crack for a pyroclasm or an
Days.
abrade, I assume. Oh, we're
Oh,
forcing.
and force pitch
Yeah,
force.
we're not letting that happen. Not today.
The quickest flick of the force onto the table.
Yeah, and that's not happening. I want to scale up.
Swing for 7.
Yep, we're coming in.
Oh, and that's it. So in theory, from Rax's side, if there wasn't another pump spell previously, you can kind of hope that they don't have that person doesn't have a second one, and there's a two turn clock. However, crop rotation or the Pendelhaven now are also lethal, as well as another noble off the top.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of different things this could go into. Um, yeah, I think you're just dead. Finds
Finds
ya.
Master kicked, and
This game,
yeah,
no
looks like
rab,
we're
no
just gonna pick
nothing.
it up.
Yeah,
Major
unfortunate.
congrats to Person of Secrets for taking down this quarters final match. Of course, the really important thing, both these players did fantastic to get here. Of note, Rax completely won out their pool in order to get here, and then, of course, won their best of 16 round. So, major congrats to making it this far, and congrats to Person as well. Person's going to be going on to the semifinals.
Yeah, where they will be facing the winner of your match against Pause, whoever that might be, whoever is the winner of that. So once again, I'm Mr. Jackdex. This is my lovely co-host and co-commentator Oliver V. And we are the MTG Paper Legacy Discord. If you don't know about us, come on and join. We have weekly events. Every Saturday we have a weekly tournament. We will have the Discord link in the description below, along with the deck list that you've seen today. We host the weekly tournaments that I've said before. Every week we have a Saturday challenge of sorts. Winner gets a token that we have handmade. Every other Sunday we have a weekly challenge for the European time zone and APAC region. Of course, every Tuesday night we have a Legacy Fight Night, which is a rotating streamed event of 3 rounds. Usually it's mod fight, sometimes it's just player versus player, sometimes we do pre-Innistrad. It's always a ton of fun. And of course, we have our league, which you are watching here, the top 8 of. Every month we have a league, which you can sign up and join. It feeds into our quarterly invitational to earn points to get into that invitational. You got to win matches in the league. You got to win matches in our weekly Saturday events and or our Sunday bi-weekly events. So if you really think that's interesting and you want to join and play some webcam Paper Legacy or just some casual matches, join on their Discord. And let us be your local meta. Anything else from my lovely co-host?
No, that's it. What a fantastic match to watch being played, and everyone take care. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
I will know.